Okay, everybody, hello and welcome to Cup of Tea's fundraising webinar when we're going to be discussing our plans and hopefully your future support in helping us organize fundraisers to help us run one more year of our wonderful program, a youth group called WildVibes. My name is Asim and I am organization's youth worker, and also with me is Catherine. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I am Catherine and I'm the CEO of Cup of Tea and lead therapist.
Okay. We're very happy that all of you could join us, even if it is in a recorded version, does not matter. And hopefully this will give you an opportunity to find out a little bit about who Cup of Tea is, what do we do, the program we have been delivering for the last year and a half now, and how you can help us do something similar in the future. Our contact information is already on our first slide with our website and our email. So if any time in before or during the process you need anything from us, please feel free to reach us and check there as well. Okay, shall we go to our first slide? So just a little bit of housekeeping rules. For anybody joining us today, we encourage to make it easier for all of us to hear each other and all of that our microphones are muted. And you're probably already realizing, and we have said it before, we are recording this. So if you want to have your cameras turned off during the presentation, please feel free to do so. Of course, because of the nature of our presentation today, there might be some questions. Please feel free to add them to the chat. We'll get to them at the end, or feel free to do the same at the designated time towards the end of the webinar. And we will be more than happy to discuss with everybody here. And of course, the big question always will be, why are we all here today and having this session? It's because we want your wonderful support to help us keep our services going. Cup of Tea is a nonprofit that helps support young people. And WildVibes has been one of the most beautiful and wonderful and so fulfilling for me as a facilitator programs that we have ever done. And we can see the impact that it has on young people and their families. And we want to continue finding ways to provide opportunities for all of you to help support us as well. You have done it multiple times in the past by sharing the news, helping us increase the numbers that threw us into the fully booked many times now, and brought new young people. But now let's also find ways together that we can help fundraise so the program can continue. Okay, sure.
Lovely. So just a quick overview of Cup of Tea as an organisation. So we were founded in 2017, and our main purpose is to support young people to access mental health support. We offer training to empower communities, young people and families. We do this through offering therapy support, that's occupational therapy, psychological therapy, trauma work, peer support work and youth work. And we do this in one-to-one therapy settings as well as our groups. And one of the things that we wanted from our groups is that once a young person has attended therapy, for them not to just have nothing after the support is finished. And this is where WildVibes came from. So we offer woodland therapy, family sessions, youth groups, events. And then in addition to that, we have training and school sessions and wellness workshops. So we offer a huge range of different things, but primarily it's therapy, it's training, and it's doing that in a way that's slightly different. It's making sure that young people who don't get services elsewhere can get a service to support them, and making sure that those transitions through different services, it's just a nicer process. So you're not going, here's a worksheet, tell me how you feel, now you're out the service. It's making sure that we can reach as many young people as possible.
Yeah, brilliant. And as Catherine said, from there came the idea about a year and a half ago to start WildVibes. For anybody who might have not heard of our services before, we are actually very fortunate to have our own woodland area. It's in Silfield, just outside of Wyndham, so very close to our office space, and allows us to have these very unique therapy groups and other groups for young people and families. And WildVibes is definitely the cornerstone of a monthly event that happens there. And when it comes to WildVibes, it has evolved into this amazing youth group with having some great returners, so young people who have joined us before and want to try new things, and always as well somebody joining us, whether from another program that we deliver, or just hearing about a service and want to try it as well. So as Catherine said, a big impact here is going to be the transition from therapy groups, because at that point, it allows young people and families to already know the environment. They already know at least one facilitator, myself, as a person who co-delivers alongside with our lovely expert facilitators in different fields such as firecraft, nature-based art, and similar. It also helps young people to enjoy new experiences. I always say to young people and to families that come, and when they drop them off, it's wonderful to see that even though somebody with a particular interest, it's either woodcraft or nature-based art, comes to join us, suddenly a couple of sessions later, they don't mind what topic it is. It doesn't matter what we're offering that month. It is the environment, it's the experience, it's the emotional reward that we get from attending these, that they want to try new things. And that's wonderful to see. And in the process, whether you join us once or twice or 15 times, hopefully we can also see that it helps young people build their confidence up, socialize with their peers, and us as adults and professionals as well, which is a little bit of a different older person in their lives who isn't a teacher, but it has some kind of educational background as well, and working with young people. So always a great way for them to have that additional platform to practice socializing too. And of course, spending time outdoors, a nice quality time in a lovely area. We have our permanent shelter. So unless it's incredibly windy, the workshops always go ahead and we can then deliver. Just to give you an idea, since we said it has been going on for the last year and a half, I still remember us planning the first one and trying to find that minimal 4 young people that can join us in hopes that it can go ahead. We have not had that problem in a long, long time, because after 20 workshops delivered, it is wonderful to see that all of our workshops are now usually fully booked in half a day. And thus far, throughout this time, we have actually offered 119 spaces booked. Some, of course, are returners, some are new. So it's not necessarily 119 different people, but definitely 119 spaces that were booked by young people in your lives, possibly that have attended and hopefully experienced something new and interesting. It's also great to see that we already have 2 new workshops ahead of us. One of them starting in a couple of days, fully booked. One of them in May, fully booked. And the funding that we're currently working off allows us to run our last workshop in June. So that's our timeline, and so 3 more to go with what we are currently working with. And it's wonderful to see that such great interest still continues after all this time. Thank you. There we go. And from there, I'm not going to go read through all of these, but please feel free to do so. Just to give you a general idea, this is something that you as adults and your young people talk to us, whether directly when you are picking them up from the car park or dropping them off, or later when I always ask for feedback, because it's great to have very specific stories about how young person has experienced such a program and the impact that it has. And as you can already see from some of these and many more that we received, it really has a great positive impact on them. Time in nature, time with their peers, feeling welcome, feeling like there is greeted with kindness, trying something new. And yeah, that's actually really nice to know that these young people are incredibly talented and have created some fantastic things, some that they kept to themselves, some that they decided to donate to us for our Christmas fairs and similar. So it allows young people to try new things in an environment that feels safe and welcoming while meeting other young people in a setting outside of school or their own home, which is fantastic. And also, we have seen it multiple times now that the interest and the love for the specific field of creation actually moved into their own private lives as well, from somebody obtaining a pottery wheel and is now doing that, to somebody moving and doing other woodcraft skills in their own time. It means that they have a chance to experience something new in a very lovely environment and then take it into their lives and build from there. And of course, it's wonderful when they come back and tell us all the great things that they have been doing with it and how it continues.
So I get the bit where I talk about the funding and what we would like to do. So to talk a little bit about the funding that Cup of Tea gets. So we receive funding primarily for therapy, whether that's the groups or individuals or working with specific people. We also get funding to test out new projects and ways of working, and the funding that we've received from WildVibes so far has been small, very specific grants. So we've had money from Co-op, for example, from their local community fund, which has funded these last 6 months worth of groups. We've had funding from Asda Foundation, we've had funding from Aviva and the Rivers Trust, which are very nature specific. One of the challenges we face is that as an organisation, our primary thing that we need funding for is the therapy, and the WildVibes it complements the therapy, but it isn't our kind of main mission. And actually, even though it's a really core part of what we do now, is kind of transitioning from therapy into beyond therapy, it's quite difficult to get funding for, and a lot of our funding efforts need to be primarily focused on that initial therapy, so that young people who are really struggling with their mental health can get that initial support. What we don't get funding for is our core costs. So, for example, our rent for the Woodlands, our office space, me as CEO, our administration staff, our insurance, and all of those things. We don't get core cost funding, our fuel costs and things like that. We don't often receive funding for continued projects. So a lot of funding offer wants something new and innovative. And even though we know some of our programs, they work and they're popular, our Campfire Community project, for example, is our OT outdoor group, occupational therapy outdoor group, that is so popular. It's really hard to get funding for it because it's not new anymore. We've run it for the last 3-4 years. We know it works. We know it's oversubscribed and popular, but it is hard to get funding for. And then looking at those next step youth groups and also our training. So one of the things that we are constantly fundraising for is to fund our core costs, just so we can keep going and keep the organisation going, but also these periphery things that we do around the WildVibes in particular, which has been such a successful way of transitioning and supporting young people outside of that traditional therapy that we offer. So what this, even though we're fundraising and across the board, and we want to bring in as much money as we can so we can support more young people, over the last 8 years we've supported thousands of young people, and we want to continue doing that. This in particular is focused on WildVibes, and to run a year of WildVibes, so 12 sessions, it costs us £5,000 to run that, which in the grand scheme isn't a huge amount for that amount of sessions, but we want to make sure that we can keep offering that as a provision for young people. So one of the things we've been looking at is families have approached us and said, we'd like to support, this is of value, we want to keep this going. So we've put together this fundraising guide and this goal to think about this £5,000 so that we can continue running WildVibes past from July onwards, because we have funding till June. We then don't have any funding. We know it's a really valuable thing. So we have this £5,000 goal. One thing that we can look at in terms of funding is the Aviva Foundation Communities Fund. This isn't something we've applied for yet, but it is something we are looking at. So what this fund does is it provides match funding. So for every £50, for example, every donation, Aviva will match the donation up to 250. So if you donated £50, they will add in another £50. If you pledge £500, they'll donate 250 because it's capped. Excuse me. So they'll do that for a period of 6 weeks. So what we are looking at is applying to this fund. They make a decision very, very quickly. We would then open up a 6-week period where we would ask people who have fundraised to pledge their donations or run fundraising events within that six-week period from May to June, to see if we can reach our goal of £5,000. So that might mean that we, as a group, we fundraise 2,500 and they all match the other half so that we can get to that 5,000. Or it might be that we fundraise 5,000 or more and they will match even more of that. They'll match up to £50,000. It's quite a lot that they would do. So if we raise that £5,000, that covers WildVibes for the next year. If we raise more than that, that can then go and fund other young people's therapy, it can run further groups, it can, we can do a lot with that money. So the initial 5,000 will be to do the WildVibes, and then anything above and beyond that, we can then offer more services and support to more young people. So it's a really exciting opportunity that we can do that with, So we're looking at applying for that so that we can then run that 6-week period within May to June, and we would then let you know, and you'll be able to see how those pledges go. If for any reason we're not successful with that, we will then look at setting up a page or updates where when people might set up a Just Giving page, or they might send donations in through the donations bit on our website or bank transfer, we can then have a thermometer much like that one on the screen, where we can then give you updates when we hit those milestones as well. So it'll be lovely if we get the Aviva, because then we can match that and it makes our lives easier and we can reach our goals quicker. But if not, we will have a tracker so that we can share how we're working towards our 5,000. The nice thing about that is, as soon as we've raised our first 1,500, we can keep going with the sessions. So it doesn't mean we need that 5,000 all in one go, because the 5,000 will pay for that full year. So it can be a longer term fundraiser that we can keep chipping away at. But if we do get the Aviva, we need to get the majority of that match fund. So that is one option that we're going to be looking at, and it would then mean that we have this flurry of activity within a 6-week period that everyone can get very excited about and get involved with, and we can have lots of different things going on by lots of different people that we can then really have a bit of a push towards going. We know that we can then have another 12 months of this wonderful program. So we have a fundraising booklet. So at the end of this, there's a QR code and a link so that you can download this. It's a very small booklet, but it has lots and lots of fundraising ideas in it. It talks you through the background of Cup of Tea. It talks through some ideas, which we've got on the screen as well, of what you can do, how to plan your fundraiser. It's got timelines and bits that you can fill in, and then how to promote your event and fine print and all of those things as well. So we will share that with you. But a few fundraising ideas. So you can do things online. It can be virtual. You could have online gaming marathons where you stream it. You could have online auctions. You could sell your stuff on Vinted or eBay and then donate the proceeds, or make craft things and donate them. Hold virtual quizzes, online classes and cook-alongs. Or if you work for a larger organization, you could nominate Cup of Tea to be the cause of the year, and then some organizations will then fundraise throughout the year for that organization, or provide a one-off donation, at halfway or midpoint, whatever their organization does, to then support us. And we can provide all the information that you need about us for that. And then there are more traditional ways of fundraising. So there are those in-person ones. You've got car boot, garage, yard sales, quiz nights, raffles, supermarket backpacking, stands at local village fetes where you do games that, tombolas and things like that, seed bank and plant swaps, those bigger fundraising events where you might do a sponsored marathon or skydive or bungee jump or a sponsored silence, some of the things that young people might be able to do as well with their friends. Or you can host things like coffee mornings or garden parties, do things within your workplace, or make and sell handmade or craft items and things like that. So there's a whole array of different fundraising ideas that you can do. They're just a few, but whatever your talents are, or if you want to push yourself. I know someone keeps talking about me doing a tandem bike ride with someone, which I'm really not very keen on. And I've done a lot of fundraising for Cup of Tea over the years, but I feel my time is coming around again to do something. Amber and our team did a half marathon, not last year, the year before. So there's lots of things which, you can push yourself, but they don't have to be physical things either. So next steps, so the kind of steps in planning is starting to think about what you would like to do. Again, there's lots of things within the booklet, and if you want physical copies of the booklet, we can send that out to you as well, or arrange collection, or we can meet one-to-one with you to chat about ideas in a in a local coffee shop and just go over things and help with that planning. So setting a date, making a bit of a list about all the things that you want to do and how you're going to do it. Get other people involved so it's not just you by yourself, and you can kind of bounce ideas off, but also share a bit of that load in organising things. Get permission if needed. So depending on what you're doing, a venue, or you might want to see if someone will loan you equipment. If you're holding something that's gambling based, like a lottery, you'll need to register for things like that. Again, our team can help with all those things. You'll need to get ready and get making or creating whatever is needed for that, whether that's promotional items, whether that's signs or social media posts, and then promoting the event. And our team can help with that. You know, if you need our logos and branding colors or templates for posters, or we can share on our own socials and, you know, tagging us in things and things like that. But just get in contact and we can support with all of those things. Additionally, you might want to contact local newspaper or radio, as they like to feature events. Again, ask us if you need a press release. And also, people like stories. They want to know why you're fundraising for Cup of Tea. They want to know your personal experience as much as you are comfortable with. Just being passionate about mental health is a good enough reason. But if you are able to share something about why it's important to you, that's great. And that might be from work background, personal background, friends of friends. You know, they don't need to know your whole life details, but knowing your personal connection is often really important to why people want to donate to something. And why it will make a difference to the community and young people. And then thinking about making sure whatever activity you're doing, that it is in line with the values of what Cup of Tea is. So making sure that it is kind of the similar ethos of what our organisation has about being welcoming and inclusive, and making sure that that underpins your activities. If you're unsure, just contact the team and we can talk you through those things. Remembering things like risk assessments, and again, we can help, but if you're running an event, you're kind of responsible for all those things too. Then finally, you'll be double checking your resources, letting us know all the information, and then it'll be your event day, and then passing on that donation to Cup of Tea and celebrating your achievement. So that might be that you have set up a Just Giving page. It might be that we have that Aviva fund and pledges are going into there, or it might be that you do a bank transfer or a PayPal donation through our website as well. But again, in the booklet, there's all different ways. If we get the Aviva fund and the way of pledging, we will then let you know that additional information so that the pledges can be made through that. And then celebrating those milestones that we're reaching and as a group that we've achieved.
That's brilliant. Hopefully, with dozens and dozens of suggestions, it can already start ringing true about where your interest lies. And we really hope that people understand that the second you hear, oh, fundraiser, it doesn't need to mean that somebody's expecting for you to run a full marathon. In the end, a range of different activities will also reach different people, which will feel more inclined to support that type of activities, because that's something that is close to their heart. So definitely be as creative as possible. Just to help, it's also in the booklet that we will share with you, but just a few more steps and ideas and things to consider, such as why do you want to fundraise, your ideas, the target. Like we said, our total one is 5,000 that we're hoping to reach to help us fund WildVibes. Anything more, it will go into our other woodland-based groups and individual therapy. But with this, your goal could be 50, 100, 200, whatever it is. And also, like we said, we will apply to Aviva's fund very soon, but that doesn't mean that you can't already start thinking about all of these and even setting up your own Just Giving page, and then if we are successful with the Aviva one, transferring that once that one is available. So absolutely go-to way to do that. And one thing is, you are our support network. You also have your own support networks outside of all of this. So who are the people, whether in your personal life, work, or anywhere else, that can help you? And what will you need for that? And when am I going to do it? Like we said, we'll let you know a little bit more once we know about the timeline, if we are successful in getting the matching fundraiser. But if not, in any case, we have our timeline set in aims that May and June are our probably busiest and targeted months to get this fundraiser, even if it then continues further on. So this is also a chance now for anybody, if you want to unmute yourself or write in the chat. If you have any suggestions, any questions, please do. Feel free. I'm gonna insert one that we got from a family of WildVibes participants that couldn't join us today, saying that they would like to do, they would like to utilize their 3D printer and make fidget toys, which is very on brand with what we do and how we, one of the things that we use to support young people in different settings. So they will supply the materials and the printing and then have their own little mini sale with the relatives, co-workers, and other people in their life, and then collect that and then add it into the pot with their Aviva on their own once they do. So that's one of the suggestions. But if you want to add anything to this discussion or have heard of other ones from other people, please feel free.
Hey, I was just saying to Kelly, my wife, I was just saying I think I'll probably organise a sponsored climb up Snowdon. I've done it before with my son. I think it's a good opportunity to sort of get together. So I think I'll pull something together along those lines to raise some money.
Wow, that's incredible. I love, that's a great climb as well.
Yes.
I've done it a couple of times.
Now that's fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. So any of these guidelines that can help you with that process, please do. And like we said, we're gonna be on standby for any questions, logos, colors, branding, anything like that, press releases, we can support.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Fantastic. I've just popped the link to the fundraising guide in the chat, and then we also have a QR code. It makes it look a lot chunkier, that graphic, than it is. It is a very thin thing, but yeah, we've got the QR code there where it gives some more information. And we will look at setting up, and we all have really great communication with Asim, and he sends us emails and communication. So we'll give all those updates to, if there's a group of people who, families who attend WildVibes and you all want to work together, or you want to do your individual ones, we'll help with linking up and making sure that everyone's got the support that they need. Amazing. So thank you for coming along. Thank you for watching as well. If you're catching up on this. If you've got any questions, please email the Cup of Tea team, and we will circulate this with our families and add it to our website as well, so that people can catch up. But thank you very much, and I'm going to stop the recording now.